Boston's preliminary election for mayor and city council will take place on Tuesday, September 26th. There will be 3 open seats on the council, one of them being vacated by Tito Jackson, who currently represents District 7. The district includes most of Roxbury and parts of Dorchester, the South End, and the Fenway. Among those hoping to be the new councilor in District 7 is our guest, Charles Clemons Muhammad. Thank you very much for being with us.
Peace and blessings, Chris, and it's always a pleasure to be in your presence.
Charles, some of our viewers know you from past elections in recent years, but for people who don't know you, talk about what you were doing before you were a candidate.
Well, before being a candidate, a former Boston police officer who walked the beat in District 7 and a little bit of Jamaica Plain and Roslindale. Also an entrepreneur, started 5 successful businesses, hired thousands of Boston residents, and some of those, some people might call them unemployable. 50% of them had queries because I believe in giving people a chance. My brothers and sisters' struggles are my struggles. And out of those thousands, about 20 went on to start their own business. Also, I am the co-founder of Touch 106.1 FM, the fabric of the Black community, where we had a platform to give our community a voice, the poor, the underserved, the immigrants.
I know there was quite a battle with regulators of the radio station, but on the other hand, this was a station where you could hear all kinds of voices, you know, the average person in the community, the elected officials.
Right.
What did you learn from running that station?
Well, one is that everyone deserves a voice. And that's why I walked from Boston to Washington, D.C. to support the Low Power FM Radio Act bill in 2009. And when you find out that when you give a person a voice, they feel empowered, they feel inspired to do what's good and what's right. Eldridge Cleaver, one of the founders of the Black Panthers, made this, has the quote, I'm either part of the solution or part of the problem. And every day that I get up, Chris, I ask myself, what am I going to do to be part of the solution?
Well, what does being a city councilor do? I mean, how do you see this job? Because you've got to work with all these other councilors, you get a critical mass to agree on something, and then you find out they don't have much power, especially over the budget.
Well, I was always taught by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad that unity is more powerful than a nuclear bomb. I already have relationships with the current city councilors. I'm looking to strengthen those relationships. It's not rocket science to do the right thing, Chris. Our community needs resources, and as city councilor for District 7, I plan on bringing those resources to my community along with the help of the city councilors. It's not fair that our seniors who are on a fixed income, taxes keep going up and they're afraid or living in fear of being homeless, losing their homes. It's not right, it's not fair.
Well, one of the things that's been proposed to the council is a neighborhood stabilization act that would give tenants who are vulnerable to displacement a better chance to stay where they're living. This concerns certainly more than one district, but should that be passed as it's been drawn up?
Well, as City Council for District 7, as I stated, it's not rocket science to do the right thing. We have to make sure that our whole community understands what this act is. That's why I propose to have town hall meetings every month to educate our community. Now, there are those that will benefit, there are those that understand, but then there are those that don't understand because they're working 2 and 3 jobs. They don't have time to go to community meetings, and that's why I'm going to have a district office in our community open 7 days a week to make sure that those that are working hard, that are working 50, 60, 70, 80 hours a week, has that connect, that link to those resources.
Well, not surprisingly, there are some property owners, including some, even small investor owners, who say, "My God, this act is going to be terrible. They won't be able to fix up houses if you put these restrictions on them."
Well, you know that the city of Boston has the linkage fund that's there that we can tap in for resource, but also we have to also understand that we have a lot of development that's going on in District 7, and there is an ordinance that City Councilor, the first City Councilor for District 7, Bruce C. Bowling, helped put forth, which was the Boston Residents Job Policy that says that any economic development that goes on in our community, 50% Boston residents, 25% people of color, 10% women. as City Council for District 7, I'm going to make sure that those developers and corporations adhere to that law. And if not, Chris, we hit them with fines. Just like you and I, when we don't do the right thing, we're hit with fines. Well, those developers should be hit with fines. And we're not talking about a slap on the hand, $200, $300. We're talking about 25% of those profits, and then have that money go back into the community to help the homeowners to hold on to property, to purchase homes.
Well, explain the need for the fines, because you've been out there in picket lines trying to make sure that these goals for hiring for residents, people of color and women, that they're met, and yet we know the record is at best spotty.
It is. And, you know, if you look at Rhode Island has numerous construction jobs going on, but they have 13 compliance officers. Here in the city of Boston, we have so much construction going on, so much economic development going on, but with 5 to 7 compliance officers, that's not enough. So we have to make sure that the community is engaged and understand what is going on. So how does that happen? Again, with a district office, with town hall meetings, educating the community so they can understand what is going on. So there's a street in District 7 called Elm Hill Park. They meet once a month. I propose that in District 7, we stop meeting once a month, the community. We get to know who our neighbors are. We take responsibility of our community. And when you take responsibility of your community, you're aware of what's going on, the changes, so that you are at the table and not on the table being served.
I want to take you back to your previous experience as a police officer. A lot of talk now about how can you increase diversity on the police and fire departments. Any promising step that you see out there that you'd like to carry the ball on?
Absolutely. First, we have to understand that the city of Boston, as of 2010, the census stated that we are the majority, people of color. Well, if that's the case, then the landscape needs to look like the city of Boston. Working with organizations such as MAMLIO, the Massachusetts Minority Law Enforcement Organization, with the Vulcans. There was just a seminar that just took place to talk about the lack of diversity in our community. I am one who was discriminated against back in the 80s to become a police officer. And what did I do? I fought. I fought hard. I'm persistent and consistent. We have to make sure that we link up with these organizations that are fighting for diversity. I like to say that I won. I got on the police department, and my son, who's a veteran, who scored a 97, he was just discriminated against getting on the Boston Police. Now he's in LA as a police officer in LA, and now he's getting ready to start a job with Homeland Security. So I'm saying work with those type of organizations, but also we need a civilian review board, and a civilian review board that has subpoena powers. And also we have to make sure that those that are on the police department, the fire department, understand that justice, Chris, means fair dealings. That's it.
Finally, as with all our other candidates, we're going to say, if you have a website or a Facebook page that people should know about,
Sure.
what should they go to?
My website is Charles Clemons Muhammad. That's my Facebook. My website is charlesforboston, FOR.com, charlesforboston.com. I look for your audience to go to the website and see our extended plan that we have to make District 7 viable for our community.
Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you, Chris.
Candidate for City Council in District 7, Charles Clemons Muhammad.